and welcome back. Corky in Rochester, New York. You wanted to talk about the State of the Union?
Yes, I want to see him come up with the credit default swaps and all risky investments on Wall Street. I want to see him come out with something addressing bundling of mortgages where it's illegal. If you sell a mortgage, you have to service it for 10 years.
That's a good idea.
Huh?
That's a good idea. I mean, I remember all the mortgages that Louise and I had back in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. The bank kept them. I was paying the exact same bank that I had originally borrowed from throughout the. I don't think we ever owned a house more than 6 or 8 years, but throughout the time that we owned that house, we should go back to that.
Because
it worked.
They're taking all the profits when they sell the mortgage, right?
Right.
And then they bundle it and sell it to somebody else. And I also want to see something done with the rating agencies of these investments.
Yeah.
If they misrate, they should have to pay taxes in retrospect.
Yeah.
Same thing with the oil speculation. Yeah. If you buy oil and you don't take possession of it within 90 days, if you don't take possession of the oil you purchased, then you're going to pay a tax on that.
Well, that should be true of any commodity.
Yeah.
I think that we should go back to the old rules that we had before the Commodity Futures Modernization Act in 99, which said that if you are going to buy futures on commodities, you have to be willing to take delivery.
So you see how this country has gone downhill since they started this gambling? You just referenced 1999 this went into effect.
Right.
How much has this country been damaged since 1999?
Oh, it's mind-boggling. It's just mind-boggling. And it's continuing. The legacy of Phil Gramm on top of Reaganomics has devastated this country.
And we got to get back to what we used to do.
Which was?
Regulate the financial markets.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you.
You got to you can't have a football game without boundaries.
Yeah. Hey, Corky, were you raised as a bubble wrap child or a free-range child?
I was free-range, but my mother thought she had a bubble wrap.
Oh, interesting.
She had an empty bubble wrap.
Yeah. So we
had woods at the bottom of the street. I lived in a neighborhood, residential neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
And at the bottom of the street was about a quarter-mile wide range of woods along the railroad tracks.
Yep.
And we used to go down there with our BB guns. We played cowboys and Indians with BB guns.
Yeah.
Shoot at you.
Yeah. Well, I never did that with a BB gun. We did that with cap guns when I was a little kid. But
one kid I went to school with, lived in my neighborhood, he lost his legs hopping a train.
Yikes.
He got drunk trying to hop a train, fell underneath it, cut both his legs off.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
He wound up in a wheelchair.
In retrospect, that time that Clark and I hopped that train to Grand Rapids, that was one of the things that, I would not want my kids to do. I look back on that and go, whoa, I really shouldn't have done that. That was dangerous. But, other than that, it was a pretty good life. Corky, thanks a lot for the call. We'll be back. Victoria Jones will be dropping by with the Talk Radio News Service to fill us in on the news of the day and the State of the Union, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll continue our conversations. We'll be right back. Unbalanced. Tom Hartman here with you, and let's check in with Victoria Jones with Talk Radio News Service, talkradionews.com, brought to you by goatsfortheoldgoat.com and free-don.org to find out what's going on in the world. Hello, Victoria. It looks to me like you are in the basement of the White House.
I am in the basement of the White House, indeed.
So what's going on?
Well, let me start with my light story because we never get to them. Splash Data has published its top 25 worst passwords ranking for 2014.
Okay.
Okay, listeners, Since the first edition in 2011, 123456 and password have consistently claimed the top 2 spots.
You mean people still use the word password as their password?
Yes, and 123456 is the number 1 password.
Oh, my goodness.
QWERTY is number 5. Dragon is number 9. Let Me In is number 13.
Really?
Mustang is number 16. 696969, I don't know why, is number 22. And Trust No One is number 25.
Incredible. How do they know this? Whose passwords did they hack to find this out?
They are actually, interestingly, a publisher of online password management solutions.
Well, now, wait a minute. Do I want to give my passwords to a publisher of online management solutions if they're going to print them in the New York Times or something?
Well, I mean, they're just going to,
Yeah.
Well, if you have 123456789, which is the number 6 password, then you deserve it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Thank you, Victoria. I've got to go change all my damn passwords.
Yeah.
All right. You outed me. So what else is going on at the world?
Well, it was very quiet here earlier in the basement of the White House. There was an air of hushed excitement. I was here. There were very few reporters here as we anticipate the President's State of the Union address at 9 Eastern tonight. But there were cameramen here and there were photographers here and they were all chatting and, talking to each other. But reporters are starting to trickle in now because they know they've got a long night ahead of them. Yeah. And the President is having lunch with a lot of bigwig news anchors, as he does. So he'll be talking about what he's going to be talking about. And meantime, we're going to talk about a little bit of what he's going to talk about. He's going into his 7th year, so he's looking at his legacy. He's also looking at setting things up for his successor and for the 2016 Congress. But he also still wants to get stuff done. Yeah.
Now, in your newsletter, you suggested some things for drinking games for tonight. I wanted to add some. I'd love to hear those, but I also wanted to add something, and that is a special bonus. In fact, I'm not going to do one of Mitt Romney and say I'll write the check, but a special bonus if Joni Ernst mentions the fact that her family took $400,000 in government welfare because in farm subsidies, that she is, literally the welfare queen.
Well, that is about as likely as the Tea Party response being fair and balanced.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The drinking game, I think people are starting to think about their drinking game. I'm suggesting middle class. But I think you could get hammered real quick with that one as your drinking game.
I think
suggestion.
You're right.
Yeah. So
jobs.
Jobs.
Yeah.
Oh, jobs.
And taxes.
Taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
tax cuts, in fact.
Tax cuts. There are a lot of ways to get hammered real fast, unless you want to have sparkling water or another sort of.
We can just get well hydrated.
Well hydrated, exactly, exactly. President Obama's going into this with a bounce. There's 2 very reputable polls, ABC News, Washington Post poll, and an NBC News, Wall Street Journal poll. Both have him with very nice bounces in approval ratings across the board, really, on just about everything, except on Obamacare. Washington Post poll shows that the public doesn't support him on some of his Obamacare stuff, but by and large, everybody seems to be flocking to him, and millennials who had moved away from him are coming back to him.
Oh, interesting.
Which is interesting. So he's feeling very energized, and I think we're going to hear about his tax plan. I think we're also going to hear quite a lot about cybersecurity tonight as well, and also quite a lot about counterterrorism, and of course with the taking of 2 hostages, which purportedly is by ISIS, 2 Japanese hostages, a video out today. I think we'll hear more about that. And then, of course, we've got an attack on the capital of Yemen going on, and we had the attack on Charlie Hebdo. I think we're going to hear quite a bit about that.
I hope we don't hear about the Japanese guys, because I think that just feeds ISIS. That gives them what they want. They want publicity.
Well, he may be very careful about this. He may go that route and not.
Yeah, we'll see.
It'll be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting night. Other things going on. The Supreme Court gave a unanimous ruling today. Doesn't often happen. Mm-hmm. Ruled that Arkansas must accommodate a Muslim prisoner's request to grow a beard, as he said his religion requires. Samuel Alito said that Arkansas prison officials have violated a federal law passed to protect religious practices from policies set by state and local officials. Basically, the inmate, Gregory Holt, who's serving a life sentence for slitting the throat of a former girlfriend and stabbing her, said, look, I want to grow a half-inch beard. I'm compromising with you because the Quran says that you shouldn't cut your beard, but I'm saying I'll cut it, and can I do it? And he wrote his petition basically in pencil, and the prison official said he could hide anything in it. And during the arguments, the justices were incredulous, saying, what's he going to hide, a minigun?
Yeah. Right.
And that's pretty much what they're saying in the opinion, that it was ridiculous.
Yeah, very interesting. So I mean, because then it gets to things like, are you going to require them to shave their heads, to shave their pubic hair? I mean, it goes on and on.
Right.
Amazing stuff. Victoria Jones with the Talk Radio News Service. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.
It's always great talking with you, and I look forward to your observations tomorrow on what happens tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back.
You're listening to Tom Hartman.
Good morning, everybody. What do you say? What do you say? Thank you so much for joining us. We are coming to you live from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. We've got a lot to talk about today.
What does the end look like?
This is not a joke. A lot of progress has been made, but the problem is going to get bigger.
What kind of a country are we?
This has become really a national conversation, as it should.
This election ain't over yet.
There's just going to be a ton of money spent there, and we'll see how it shakes out.
The numbers are pretty staggering.
When we arm these rebels, they could end up being the enemy that we fight against.
The House just is doing nothing.
It's understandable to me why there is so much outrage.
I've never felt so totally free and so totally independent in terms of broadcasting the news of the day as I do here on Free Speech TV.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Join the conversation.
Hey, amigo. Hey, I asked you for whole wheat bread. El Guido.
Sorry for the confusion.
You know, that's the problem with these people. If you want to serve Americans, you got to learn to speak the language. You know what I'm saying?
No, sir. I don't.
Imagine the power of one voice. Click freedomcenter.org to find yours.
We perpetuate a culture of crime all the way from Wall Street right down to the main street in our hometowns. It's worse than it has been since FDR took control of the problem and said we can't count on industry.
Tom Hartman here on the best of the rest of science and green news. You need to know this. Last year's massive chemical spill in West Virginia had a much bigger effect than anyone realized. According to a new study by U.S. Geological Survey researchers, the 10,000 gallons of MCHM, the chemical responsible for contaminating drinking water in West Virginia, actually traveled as far as Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio. While it may seem obvious that the chemical made its way downstream, researchers say that crude MCHM was found nearly 400 miles away from the incident. The USGS researchers explained that these findings are very important when it comes to spill response in the future and what role the U.S. government should play when contaminated water crosses state lines. In addition to proving the importance of oversight, the Freedom Industries spill showed how easily weak regulations on one chemical plant can threaten the lives of many Americans. We already know that in